Good evening, everyone. In today's session, we will continue seeing 1D and 2D arrays and certain programs based on that, such as how to find the maximum or minimum element in a given array, how to search a particular element in an array, how to sort an array, that is, how to arrange an array. Then you can also find the average of the elements of an array. Then how to add two 2D arrays, that is matrix. One 2D array represents one matrix. So we can add two 2D arrays, that is we can add two matrices. Similarly, we can multiply two matrices like how we do in maths. Then how to use functions and arrays together. How to count the occurrence of an element in an array. Then how to find union of an array of two arrays or intersection. How to merge two arrays or combine two arrays. How to update array elements and how to separate one array into two arrays. So these are some of the possible operations that you can perform. There are many more also, which we will be seeing. So let us begin. So now the first program is to search a particular element in an array. So we know how to access each element of an array, that is using a for loop. As we run through the for loop, each element of the array gets accessed. So suppose here I have an integer array of size 5, means maximum you should store 5 elements. If you store greater than 5 elements, you cannot access it through this array. If you store lesser than 5 elements, the remaining elements will be 0 by default. We know this. Now, this is to accept the elements of an array, okay, using scanf. Now, this program let us modify so that you can search a particular element. Now we can ask the user using the printf, we can display the message that enter the element to be found. So first you have to accept the array from the user, and then we must ask him that which element from that array you want to find. Then using scanf, you have to store the input that the user gives you using %d, store it in a variable called key. Okay, usually the element that you want to find is known as key. So since I have used the variable key in scanf, I must declare it over here. Okay, then you have to again use that for loop. Same for loop, I'll just copy and paste. But this time what you have to do, you must write some other statements in this for loop, like if key, that is the element that needs to be found, is equal to, my array name is ARR, so ARR of I. Then I must print that key is found. Okay, you can also say %d is found and then replace %d with the actual key. Okay, you can do that also. And as soon as you find it, don't keep on searching, right? For example, suppose this is your array. Now suppose you want to find the element 5. So what you'll do, you'll first compare the key with the first element. It is not matching. Then you'll compare the key with the second element. It is not matching. Then you compare the key with the third element. The key is 5 and the third element is also 5. So you have found the required element, and now you have to break the loop. Okay, don't go on finding. This is, you must do like this if you're finding only the first occurrence of the element. Means what? Here 5 is present only once in the list, but 5 can be multiple times in the list. Okay, so the requirement of searching is the elements in the list must be unique. Means you should not have repetition of the elements. Now, if in the list you do not have repetition of elements, it is called as a set, right? In mathematics, you have studied set theory. A set is a unique collection of distinct elements. So if 5 is not repeated, then this array becomes a set. Okay, so in this case, you know for sure that 5 is present only once in your list. So as soon as you get the 5, do not keep searching, simply break from the loop. Okay, this, but if you want to find multiple occurrences, then do not break. Okay, if you want to find only first occurrence, you must immediately break as soon as you get the required element. So as soon as key is equal to a of I, you must print key is found and then type break. Okay, and if I is equal to, now when will this for loop terminate? At which value of I, can you tell me?
It will depend on the number input given by the user, right?
Actually, the size of the array is 5. So once I is equal to 5, it will break the loop, right? Here I have not accepted how many elements user wants to store. So here if I'm writing 5, it is the size of the array. So only for 5 times this for loop will run, right?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, so once, see, first I will be 0, for loop condition is satisfied. Why? Because 0 is less than 5. So it will execute. Then I will become 1, 1 is less than 5, it will execute. So on, then 4 is less than 5, it will execute. Then I becomes 5. 5 less than 5 is false. So when I is equal to 5, my for loop will not get executed. It will terminate. So when I is equal to 5, that means I have not found my element. Or you can say that if I is equal to, in this case, I'm getting 5, not at the last position. So if this is index, so here I'm getting my 5 at the index 2. So the for loop is not be executed after 2. That means if I is equal to 5, that time it is completely sure that the element is not present. Okay, I'll just write this and then again run and show you. So I can say that printf element or key not found. Okay, so let us run this program without executing, means let us manually run it first. So suppose here I have 6 elements. Let us change it to 6, or let me change the example itself. I want to find the element 2 and my array size is 5 over here. Okay, size is 5, so index is up to 5 minus 1, that is 4. So if I want to find an element 2, then in this for loop how it will be executed. So first I will check I is equal to 0, I is less than 5, condition is satisfied. So I'll compare key is equal to ARR of I or not. Now key is 2 and A of 0 is 3. So it does not match, so if is not executed. Then if first execution of for loop is over. Then I becomes 1. If I is equal to 1, I have to compare key and the position index 1 element, that is 4. So I have to compare 2 and 4. So 2 is not equal to 4. So next execution of for loop. Then I have the element 5. I have to again compare 2 and 5. No, 2 is not equal to 5. Then I compare 6 and 2, not equal to. Then what happens? Now key is 2 and I is equal to 4. So I have to compare 2, whether it is equal to or not, to ARR of 4. That is, I have to compare 2, whether it is equal to ARR of 4 is 2. Okay, so here condition is satisfied. So I'll print key is found and I'll break. And now I is equal to what? I is equal to 4. At this position, we have found the element. So the next is what? If I is equal to 5, then I have to print element is not found. But here I have found the element and so only I is not equal to 5. So this will not get executed. So key is found. Now let me take another example where I find the element somewhere in the middle. So I have to find the element 2. So I is equal to 0. That time I have to compare my key, which is 2, whether it is equal to or not to A of 0. And A of 0 is what? A of 0 is 3. So I have to compare whether 2 is equal to 3 or not. It is not equal to. So this if condition is not executed. I'll go to the next execution of for loop. I becomes 1. I becomes 1. At the index 1, I have the element 1. So I have to compare A of 1 with key. So 2 is not equal to 1. So again, it is not executed. Now I will become 2. I have to compare my key, that is 2, with A of 2. And A of 2 is what? It is 2 over here. So 2 equal to 2. So I have found my element at the index 1. Sorry, at the index 2. I have found my element at I equal to 2. And now, since I have found the element, this is satisfied, this will get printed, and then I'll break. So at the I equal to 2 value, I have broken from my for loop. So I have found the element and I is equal to 2. So this condition is not satisfied. So I will not print that I have not found, because I have found the element. Now let us see a condition where the element is not found at all in the array. So I'll compare 2 with 3, not found, 2 with 1, not found, 2 with 8, not found, 2 with 6, not found, 2 with 4, not found. So I is equal to 4 now. And then next execution, I becomes 5. But 5 less than 5 is false. So for loop will not execute. Now I is equal to 5. If condition is satisfied, that means element is not found. Okay, have you understood this program?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay,
And
so this, yes,
if we do not write the break statement, then also the last statement would be printed, no? Because I would definitely increment to 5 if we do not write break loop.
yes, yeah, you're right. So if, as you are saying, if we do not write break, then let us see what happens. So if I find my element at the index 1, this is index, and these are my elements. I have to find 2, and if it is present at index 1. So first time I is equal to 0, I'm not going to find it. Then when I is equal to 1, I find it. So what will happen is condition is satisfied, key is found. But if break is not there, I'll go to the next execution. Then I is equal to 2, not found. Then I is equal to 3, not found, 4, not found, then 5. And then it will also print that element or key is not found. Okay, so let me execute this also. Enter the element 1. So let us enter the same elements. 3, 2, 8, 6, 4. See, enter the, oh, just a minute. Enter the element to be found. Suppose I want to find the element 2. So it is printing that key is found as well as element or key is not found. So if I put my break statement here, which is necessary for this type of execution, and now if I run my program, I enter the elements. So enter the element to be found, suppose 7. So key is found, okay, only once. Now, if I don't give break and I have duplicate values in my array, so what do you think what will happen?
It would again follow the same thing, that is it would print the same second sentence also.
Means you're telling that element not found will be printed.
Yes, because there is no break statement, right?
Yeah, it will be correct what you're saying. And one more thing is that since here I have duplicate values, 2 is twice. So it will print key is found twice. So key is found, and last it will print element is not found. So let us try this. Enter the element to be found 2. So see, key is found. And since I've not given backslash n, again key is found is getting printed on the same line. And since I've given backslash n for this statement, it is on the new line, key is not found. Now if I give break statement and key is um, present twice, that is 2 and 2, so it will execute only one time key is found, and then that will be the only output. So let me execute this also. Enter 5 elements. Mm, I didn't give duplicate value. So 2 is present twice. Enter the element to be found 2. So since I've given break, though it has another 2 over here, it will print only for the first 2 and the loop is terminated. Now this was for single occurrence or single time you want to detect if an element is found or not. So if you want to find multiple occurrences, then you have to make one small change, that instead of break, you maintain another variable called count and keep incrementing it if you find the particular key. So if I is equal to 5, then element is not found. That is correct. And uh, here you, instead of doing I is equal to 5, you can use the other logic, that is, if count is equal to 0, that means the element or the key is not found at all. So here, instead of, I can use one more variable count. I'll initialize it to 0 in the beginning. Okay, so first time you find 2, count will become equal to 1. Second time you find 2, means whichever key, count will become 2. Third time you find the key, again count will become incremented. But if count is 0, only then it will be printed that element is not found. So if count is non-zero, that means in the else part it will go, which I'm adding now, that printf key is found %d times. And in place of %d, I want to print the value of count. So let us run this program. So enter the 5 elements. Enter the element to be found 2. So key is found 2 times. And now no need to print that key is found, key is found. Okay. So what you can do, instead of this statement, remove it from here. Only increment count. So how this will run, I'll just show you. So suppose you have 2 twice. Then to find 2. So now a key is compared, that is 2 is compared with 3, that is first element, you didn't find it. Then 2 is compared with the element 2, you found it. So count becomes 1. Then you compare 2 with the next element 8, you did not find it. So count is not incremented, nothing will be done. Then next element 6, again you didn't find. Next element 2, you found. So count will become plus plus, that is count will become 1 plus 1, that is 2. And then finally the range of the array is over, that means for loop will stop executing. So if count is 0, means you have not found the element at all. But if count is non-zero, that is your else part, you can find that, you can print that it is found count times. So let me run this program now. I will enter the 5 elements. So 3 times 2 is appearing. So enter the element to be found 2. So key is found 3 times. If I enter the element to be found as 4, then 4 will be found only 1 time. Let us execute that also. I want to find the element, suppose 5. It is present only once. So key is found 1 times. Okay. Now here it doesn't read properly like 1 times. It should be 1 time. But you can handle that with a other case also. But it's okay. This much is also okay. Have you understood how to find multiple occurrences?
Yes.
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 Everyone?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
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 So we have, now we can execute the program to find the minimum or maximum element in the list. Now, have you done this in Python for those who have studied Python? Yes? Anyone has done this? How to find the minimum or maximum element in a list?
Yes, using predefined max and minimum.
Okay, you are right. So now I'll show you two ways to do this. So now for ease in execution, I'll just initialize my array so that again and again I don't have to enter the elements. So you can have positive values as well as negative values in your array. You can have a value 0 also. So these are some values in my array. Here I'll use one variable min, or it stands for minimum. I don't need this count variable. I don't need key also. So I'll remove this part because I don't want to accept the values. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 elements. So in every program where you're dealing with arrays, usually you have to use for loop only, or while loop also, or any looping statement, so that you can access each element repeatedly. So in this loop, we have to implement our logic. So the logic is, initially you initialize minimum to, now suppose all your values are positive, okay? We'll consider that case. In your array, you have only positive numbers. Suppose your minimum stores the value 0. So you have to compare if min variable is greater than any element in my array. Any element in array means ARR of I. If my minimum is greater, means the value 0, if it is greater than any of these values, then I have to store that value in my min variable. Okay, I repeat. For example, I have the numbers these in my array. The index is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I want to find minimum. So how this loop will work is, currently my minimum is 0. Now in my loop, I will check the condition. Minimum is greater than ARR of I. Now here minimum is 0, and I have to check if it is greater than ARR of, the first value of I is 0, so ARR of 0. Now ARR of 0 is 1. So 0 is greater than 1. So up till now, 0 is only the minimum element between 0 and 1. 0 is the minimum element between 0 and 1. So I will not do anything because 0 is less than 1. What is my if condition? If 0 is greater than 1, I have to check. Only if that is satisfied, I have to do something. But here 0 is less than 1, so if will not get executed. Now I becomes 1. Minimum is still, for this checking, minimum is still equal to 0. Now I have to check for ARR of 1. That means I have to check for whether 0 is greater than 1. ARR of down is index and top is elements. So I have to check for ARR of 1, that is 3. So if 0 is greater than 3, no, false. So again if is not executed. Then 99, 45. For all these values, it will not get executed. That means 0 is the minimum element in your array. Okay. Till now, 0 is the minimum element in this array. So this was one logic. Now, if you have negative numbers in your array, suppose minus 45. Now, when you come to this minus 45, you can compare 0 greater than minus 45. So what will happen? 0 greater than minus 45 is false. It is true. 0 is greater than negative number. So my if condition will get satisfied. And now what I'll do, in my min variable, which was up till now 0, I will store minus 45. Because between all that I've done till now, that is I've got 0, and now I'm getting minus 45. So minus 45 is less than 0. So it is the minimum element in my array. Okay, so as soon as you get an element which is lesser than min, soon as you get an element which is lesser than min, that element becomes your min. Okay, Soon as you get an element which is lesser than min, that should become your min. Now, this was one logic. So let me execute this program and show you. I have to also print the minimum also. So printf, I'll just print the value. So it is 0, okay, up till now, since all positive values, so 0 is the least among them. Suppose I have minus 45, then that should be my minimum element. So that is my minimum element, as you can see. So have you understood this, how I have done it?
Yes.
Okay. Now, another way of doing this is, instead of taking 0, see now I have taken 0, but instead of taking such an element, I can take the first element of my array and store it in min. Okay, I will just take simply, I'll take the first element of my array and store it in min. So min is equal to a of 0. This is how you can access first element. So now min is equal to 1. Let me change it here. Let me make it 88. So now min is equal to a of 0 and a of 0 is equal to 88. Okay, so you can take this element. Now you will compare 88 with all the elements, okay, as you proceed. So you will check min, that is 88, is greater than a of 0. Okay, a of 0 is 88. So this is false, they are equal. Then you will check with 3. 88 is greater than 3. Yes. So if min is greater than a of something, then min should be, if min is lesser than something, yeah, greater than only. So 88 you will check with 3. If 88 is greater than 3, it is true. That means you have to do something. Then min will become equal to that element, which is a of I, that is 3. Okay, this 88 is nothing but your min, which is getting compared with a of I. So now this condition is satisfied. 88 is greater than 3. So your min should be equal to your a of I that I've done here. Min is equal to this. Now min is equal to 3. Then again you'll compare min is greater than a of I. So min is now what? 3. And 3 has to be compared with the next element, that is 3. 3 greater than 3, false. So you'll not do anything. Then you'll compare with the next element, 99. 3 greater than 99, false. So you won't do anything. Next you'll go to minus 45. Till now min is same thing. We have not done any change. 3 greater than minus 45, it is true. 3 is greater than minus 45. So the if condition is satisfied and min should be equal to that element, minus 45. Now min becomes minus 45. Then you'll compare with 0. 45 greater than 0? No. So you won't do anything. So this way, whatever is the least element also will get stored in min. So either you can use 0 as your min element, or you can use the first element as your min element. Okay, while initializing min, either initialize it to 0 or your first element. Have you understood these two logics?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Now, if you want to find the maximum element of your array, can you tell me what change you'll have to make? You must make some
Yes.
change. Yes, tell me.
In
Just
place, you
yeah.
have to write max. First, you have to initialize max equal to ARR 0.
Yes.
In place of min, you have to write ARR I more than max, and then it would.
Correct. Yeah. Very good. Okay, you can do this and make this max. So if my element is greater than max, that means between max and that element is greater. If between element, okay, let me show you. Okay, so if my element is greater than maximum, then make maximum equal to that element. Okay, if my element is greater than the maximum, my element is now the maximum. Okay, you can now, instead of in minimum, we took min equal to 0. In place of max, you can either take 9999. You can take any greater number or any value which is not present in your array, and if it is greater than all the elements, you can take any number. Usually we take 9 up to 4 digits. Okay, maximum we take this much usually. Or best way is, if your number is suppose 999999 and you have taken it as 9999, then it will work, but this is not like how it should be done. So best is to take the first element as your max. Okay, while initializing, make max equal to a of 0. Okay, this is the best way. So this was the change for finding maximum element. Now to find the average of the elements, we have seen how to find the sum of the elements. Sum plus equal to a of I. You have to keep on doing that in your loop. So once you find the sum, divide it by total number of elements. You'll get the average, right? Because the formula for average is average of n of a set of numbers is equal to sum of those numbers divided by the total number of elements. Or let me write it like this. Okay, average is equal to sum divided by number of elements. So you can do this program easily on your own. Now next I'll show you matrix addition and multiplication. So matrix addition is simple, just like how you did in your linear arrays or one-dimensional arrays. So I have two 2D arrays which I have to add. Okay, you can add 2 matrices, you can add 3 matrices, and so on. So they are 3 by 3 matrices. And here, as you can see, have I initialized all the elements means what? Here there should be 3 columns and 3 rows. Now since means, just a minute. So suppose my matrix is 3 by 3. So I should have 3 rows and 3 columns. So here I have 3 rows and I have 3 columns. And the element should be stored like this. Suppose I have 2 rows and 3 columns. What will happen? This last row will not be there. 2 rows and 3 columns. Okay, 3 columns. Now, so how you will initialize this? So I know that I have 2 rows and each row has 3 elements, right? Each row has how many elements? 3 elements. 2, 3, 4 and 4, 5, 6. So my row 1 has 3 elements. So I can write it as the 3 elements. I can write like this. So row 0 has been stored. Give comma and again open and close curly brace. Now you have to enter the elements for row 2. That is, index of the row is 1. That is second row. It is called as row 1. So you will store the elements 4, 5, 6. Okay, and now you don't have any more rows. Okay, this inside curly brace is 1 row. This inside curly brace is 1 row. And now you have to complete your outer curly brace. This whole thing is your 2D array. So row wise, you must store the elements while initializing. Okay, now, and how will you know how many elements in each row? The number of columns, right? There are 3 columns. So in each row, there should be 3 elements. I hope you understand this. So since there are 3 columns in each row, you must store 3 elements. Now suppose here I have stored 4. I don't store it. I have stored 2, 3. Okay, so this value is missing. So what will be that value by default? Can you tell me?
0.
0.
Yes, very good. It is 0. Similarly, so what will happen? If you have 2 elements, you had to store 3 elements. So your last element will be 0. Your first element, second element will be stored, but last element will be 0. It is not that you'll have 0 in the beginning and then you'll have 2 and then you'll have 3. No, this will not be the case. Whatever is missing, that is always at the end. And at the end, you'll have your zeros, not at the beginning. So the number of elements in a row is equal to number of columns. You can remember this. Okay, so here also some values are missing. Now I have 3 columns and 3 rows. So 3 rows means 3 inner curly braces. 3 inner curly braces. Okay. 3 columns, so I should have 3 elements in each row. Here 1 element is missing. Here 1 element is missing. Here 2 elements are missing. Okay, so that is how you know that some elements are missing in your array. And it will work, okay? By default, compiler takes them as 0. You won't get any error. So I have displayed the first matrix. You 2-dimensional array, so 2 for loops. Outer for loop controls rows or columns. Can you tell me? It controls your rows, okay? Because I've told you row wise everything happens. So first you have to do for the row, and within the row you're doing for the column. Okay, so outer loop always controls rows, and inner will definitely control columns. And I'm printing the array. I've initialized, so I'm printing it directly. So first row will get printed, then give a new line character. You come on the next line. Second row will get printed, then come on the next line. Third row will get printed. Okay, this is the need of this printf over here. Similarly, matrix 2 also I have displayed. Now what I have to do, I have to add them. Okay, this was the code for transpose. Okay, I of j and j of I means you're storing the j of I in a new matrix called I of j. We have seen this last time, transpose. Okay, this is for matrix addition. You have to simply do first matrix element plus second matrix element. Okay, first matrix element plus second matrix element. Whatever addition you get, you have to store in a third matrix. If you don't want to store, simply put this thing in a printf statement. Okay, don't use this other matrix. Whatever you have to print is this one. Okay, directly print it. But here I'm storing the addition in another matrix, and then this each addition will get stored in the other matrix. For each element, it will happen the addition, and it will get stored in the D matrix. And then finally, I'm going to print my D matrix. Okay. If you don't want to store it in another matrix, simply print it. So let me run this program. So matrix 1 I had initialized. By default, the values have become 0, okay, which were missing. Then matrix 2 also I have printed. Matrix 1 transpose has been found, 250. And here it has become the column 250. We have seen this matrix addition. So how your matrices are added? First element, that is 2 with 5. Then this 5 with this 9. Then this 0 with this one. Okay. Each element correspondingly it is added. Then second row ka 5 with second row ka 4. This 2 with this 0. This 0 with this 2. Then this 1 with this 0. This 0 with this 0. This 0 with this 0. So each element correspondingly is added. So this is how you can add your matrices. It is a simple thing. Whatever you have to do is within 2 for loops. Okay, in those 2 for loops, simply add those 2 elements and store them or print them. Now, as you can see here, tell me what is missing. Is it a row? Is a row missing, or are the rows complete?
Row is missing. Third
Yeah,
row.
the third row is missing. So all the elements in the third row are 0, as you can see here, of matrix 2. Okay. So this was matrix addition. So 2 and 5, 7. 5 and 9, 14. Okay, so it's executing properly. Now let us see matrix multiplication. Now this is a little different. Now before going to the program, let us manually see how to add two matrices. So suppose these are two matrices which are initialized. I have to multiply them. So element 2 is at the index. It is at 0, 0. Okay, so Just I need to make some corrections here. Okay, so these are my column index 0, 1, 2. This is my row index 0, 1, 2. Okay, now how I'll multiply? See, I've highlighted the elements which should get multiplied. So 2 is multiplied with 5. First row, sorry, first row, this row, and this first column. Okay, these two will be considered first in the first iteration. So 2 into 5, that is 10, plus 5 into 4, that is 20, plus 0 into 0, that is 0. So 10 plus 20, 30 will be a first element. Okay, this is how it is done. So what I said, first element you have to multiply. Then second element, and then third element and third element. And whatever products we have found up till now, you have to add them. That will be a first element. Right? You know this, right? Have you understood?
Yes.
Yeah. So just I revised how you have to multiply. So similarly, first row, first column is over. Then first row and second column. Okay, first row, second column. So first row is 250, second column is 900. So 9 twos are 18 plus 0 plus 0. So this element will be 18. Then first row, third column. 2 ones are 2 plus 5 twos are 10 plus 0. So 2 plus 10, that is 12, is your third element. Then you have to do second row, first column, then second row, second column, second row, third column. Then third row, first column, third row, second column, third row, third column. Okay, that is how each element you will get. Now, one more thing, matrix multiplication is always not possible. It is possible only if the number of columns of first matrix is equal to number of rows of second matrix. Means if I write here, so what is the size of this array? It is 3 by 3. So there are 3 rows and 3 columns. Here also it is 3 by 3 matrix. So the number of rows of the first, that is this 3, and the number of columns of the first and the number of rows of the second, that is this 3. These both should be the same value. For example, 4 by 3 matrix, that is 4 rows 3 columns, and 3 rows 5 columns, that is 4 by 3 matrix, and 3 by 5 matrix is possible for multiplication. Why? Because number of columns of first and number of rows of second are same. But if you have 4 by 2 matrix and 3 by 5 matrix, number of columns of first and number of rows of second are not equal. So these two matrices cannot be multiplied. This is the condition for multiplication. For addition, the condition is even more strict. That is 3 by 3 and 3 by 3. The size of the matrix should be same. Means the first matrix has 3 rows 3 columns, second matrix should also have 3 rows 3 columns. Okay, means order should be same for both the matrices in addition, but for multiplication it is different. So how you can do this for multiplication? So outer for loop for rows, inner for columns. Then you have to use one variable sum. Sum will store whatever sum you are finding. Means first you will find the products and then you have to add those products to get the element. You have to add those products. So that addition once you add the products, thus you will get the final sum. That sum which is element. So each element is getting stored in some variable. Okay, this we have come to know. So now how to find the products? To find the products, you have to do some logic over here, which is a little different. For that, you have to use another for loop. Okay, you have to use another for loop so that you can access each element properly. So we'll run this program manually now. Okay, because if I explain directly without an example, it becomes difficult to understand. So with an example, it will be easier to understand. So let me write my elements here. My matrix 1 is, usually we represent matrices with capital letters. So 2, 5, 0. Next row is 5, 2, 0. Next row is 1, 0, 0. Now matrix B is 5, 9, 1. Then I have 4, 0, 2. And then I have all zeros. Now I have my two matrices in front of me. And initially sum is equal to 0. So in the first iteration, I is equal to 0, j is equal to 0. So you will access the element at 0, 0 position. That is your first element. And you have the variable k, which is equal to 0. Okay, initially k is equal to 0. So now as you can see in the innermost for loop, I is equal to 0, k is equal to 0. So it is which element? The first element. Okay, now this is for which array? The first matrix, first array. That is for A. For A, I have to A of 0, 0. Why 0, 0? I is 0, k is 0. So A of 0, 0 is what? 2. Let me use document only. So I have accessed the element 2 by using A of I of k. Now B of k of j. K is 0 and j is also 0. So the element 5 of second matrix I have accessed. So I'll multiply them. Okay, this is first row. Okay, and I have to access first column. So that we have to do now by this logic. So first row I have accessed the first element. First column I have accessed first element. I'll multiply them. That is 10. And sum plus equal to 0 means current value of sum will become 10. Now in the next iteration, I have to store that in the same iteration. Okay, it's not over. The innermost for loop of k is over. Then I've come out of it. And in d of I of j, I and j is what? It is still 0, 0. So it is what? In your new matrix which you are creating, the product matrix at that position. Okay, suppose this is your product matrix. At the position 0, 0, you are storing what? 5 to the for just a minute, I have to still continue the inner for loop, right? Innermost for loop. For k is equal to 0, this is executed. Now for the next value of k, right? Innermost for loop is not yet over. So k became 1 now. So what will happen? A of 0, 1, right? A of 0, 1 is which element? 0th row, first column, that is element 5. Okay, element 5. And B of k of j. Now k is what? It is become 1 and j is 0 only. So 1 of 0 means what? First row and 0th column. That is this 4 I'm accessing of B array. So you saw how it happened. I've accessed this next element of the row and next element of the column. So 5 2s are 10, 5 4s are 20. So what will happen? Sum plus equal to means what? Previous you got 5 2s are 10. 10 plus 20. That is 30 is the value of sum. Now next k will become 2. So I is still 0, 0, 2. That is this 0 and 2. That is this 0 I've accessed. And now k is become what? 2. So 2, 0. J is still 0. 2, 0. So second row, 0th column. This element I've accessed. And I have to multiply this 0 with this 0, which is 0. So 10 plus 20 plus 0, that is 30. Since in innermost for loop execution over now, so the final sum is stored at the position 0, 0 of the D matrix, that is 30. So we have finished first row, first column. Now we'll continue for first row, next column, that is 9020 column, 900 column. How that is possible? Because now in a for loop everything is over. Now j will become 1. Means what? I is 0, j is 1. I is 0 and j is 1. That is this element. Then I can access this element of the A matrix, and second matrix ka this element. Then it will increment this way, this way. Okay, so if you implement, you can do this at home in detail, because now we don't have much time, so I cannot explain each iteration. But have you understood till now how the multiplication works? Why you need 3 for loops?
Yes.
Yes.
This way you can access each element in a row and of the first matrix, and each element in the column of the second matrix. Why? Because first row, first column, first row, second column, first row, third column, you have to do it. Okay, so you can access each element of the first row for the first matrix and each element in the column for the second matrix, and this way you can multiply. So once you execute your program, you will get the matrix multiplication correct. See, 30 we had got, it has come here. Okay, so this way you'll get all the elements correct. Okay, so now I think these many programs are enough for today. I want to make one announcement now. Before that, can you tell me if you have any doubts? You have any doubts up till now?
Mm.
There is no doubt, but I just wonder if there were three matrices, right?
Yes,
And the third one is the product of the two matrices. So
yes,
we required for loops.
yes.
So if there were four matrices, so depending upon the condition, we'll require four for loops or what?
See, whenever you do matrix multiplication, it is always between two matrices. So suppose, yeah, okay, let me draw it and show you. Suppose you have matrix A, matrix B, matrix C, and also matrix D. So here there are four matrices. So first, if the and first of all, the condition what you have to check, whether rows and columns matching or not. That means columns of A and rows of B should be same. Then you can multiply A and B. So you get another matrix multiplication X. Then you must multiply X with C. You'll get Y. And then you must multiply Y with D. Okay, so this is how you have to multiply. Now, how many for loops you will require? So for multiplying A and B, you need 3 for loops. Okay, that means for multiplication of two matrices, you need 3 for loops. After multiplying A and B, you get another matrix X. Now again you have to multiply two matrices, so again you need 3 for loops. Okay, you get a matrix Y. Now again you have to multiply two matrices, you'll need again 3 for loops. But total now you need 6 for loops. But since this is a repeating process, means you have to multiply matrices again and again. So what you do, you'll just need another for loop. Means what? One for loop. This will take care of what? Number of matrices that you need to multiply. Next inner for loop will be for what? It will handle the rows as usual. Again, one more inner for loop will be for what? Will be for the columns. Again, one more for loop what? For the k value to access the elements properly. So you'll have nesting of 4 for loops over here. Okay, so outer for loop for total number of matrices that need to be multiplied. Then for each, suppose you have to multiply two matrices, how many you need? 3 for loops. You'll get your, now 3 matrices are remaining. So this outer for loop will decrement by 1. Then you have to multiply the next two matrices. Outer for loop will get decremented by 1. And then you'll multiply the next two matrices. So actually, instead of 6 for loops, you'll need just 4 for loops. Okay, have you understood this?
Yes, but it's a bit complex.
Yeah,
Looks
so
complex.
just because you have to do multiplication again and again, you must just include another for loop. Like how if you have to find the prime numbers within a range, like before what we were doing, we were testing a single number for prime. If that number is prime, you have to use just one for loop. If you have to find for a range of values, then that is the range of values is handled by outer for loop. And then whatever logic is for a single element, that you have to put it in your outer for loop. So similarly, the multiplication, how many times you have to do, that is by the outer for loop. And then each of the two matrices, each of the pairs of matrices is handled by the inner for loops. So this is how it is done. I hope you understood. Any other doubts?
No.
Yeah. So the announcement was that for the next 15 days, I'm giving you one programming challenge. Okay. I'll be discussing the solution for that program, but I want you to first try it. And the challenge is, the name of the challenge is Hack the Bank Challenge. So these type of programs, actually this is a simple one. You can have more complex one in your coding rounds, like, or in your coding competitions like HackerRank or Code Chef. Okay, such problems you get there. So this is just a very simple one, and it is a big program. Okay, till now we have just seen simple programs of addition, multiplication. This is a real-time program. Okay, real world example. What it is, I've given you the algorithm. Okay, you have to simply convert it into a program. So the algorithm is, first, this is a bank management system, you can say. First, what you have to do, you have to accept a 4-digit integer pin from the user. Means, like how in ATMs you have the pin, that is how you have to accept a pin. Once you accept the pin from the user, you must ask him whether you want to perform an operation or transaction or not. What are the possible operations in this program are, whether you want to deposit some amount, you want to withdraw some amount. Deposit means you want to put some money in the bank. Withdraw means you want to take some money from the bank. And balance checking means how much money is currently available in your account. So these three operations are possible for this program. Now, first you have to accept the 4-digit pin, user generated pin. Then you have to ask the user whether he wants to perform certain operation or not. If he says yes, then you have to proceed. If he says no, you have to simply print what you have to do. If the user says no, I'll come to that. If he says yes, then what you have to display a menu using switch case. You must give the options that deposit, withdrawal, or balance checking. Then you have to ask him to enter the 4-digit pin. If he enters the correct pin, that is what he had entered earlier, if the two pins are matching, then condition is satisfied. If the pins are matching, then you must ask him that whether he wants to perform deposit of money or withdrawal of money or balance of checking. Okay, means what? The menu is in front of him. After the menu is displayed, that means these options are displayed, you have to ask him to enter the pin. If the pin matches, then he has to enter his choice, that is whether deposit or withdrawal or balance checking. If his choice is depositing, then simply increase your balance with the amount which he is storing, means balance plus equal to amount which you want to deposit. Okay. But if his choice is withdrawing, then there are two conditions. You have to check whether the current balance is greater than how much you want to withdraw or not. Means suppose you have 500 in your bank, you can withdraw 200, it is possible. But if you have 200 in your bank and you want to withdraw 500, it is not possible, right? So these two conditions you must check. If the balance is greater than how much you want to withdraw, then you must simply decrement the balance by how much you want to withdraw. That means balance minus equal to withdrawal amount. But if my balance is lesser than how much I want to withdraw, then display the message that it is not possible and end the program. Okay. Have you understood the two conditions in withdrawing?
Yes.
Yeah. Have others also understood, or should I repeat?
Understand.
Yes, understood.
Yes.
Okay.
Understood.
So these were for withdrawal. Now balance checking means what? Simply you have to display the current balance. Okay. Here you have updated balance, suppose, then you must display the latest balance. Okay. This was for if the pin is matching. Now, if the pin does not match, display the message that appropriate message that pin is not matching and end the program. Instead of ending the program, I've written here go to step number 13. What is step number 13 is display the appropriate message that end of services. Okay, the program should terminate. Now, if the pin is not matching, then also go to step number 13, that is end of services. And in the beginning, what I had told you, ask the user whether he wants to perform the transaction or not. If he says yes, then only all this will get executed. If he says no, directly go to the 13th step. That is, if no, then go to step 13, end of services. Okay. Now, these are the compulsory things that should be there in your program, but you can also implement other features in your program. Okay, these are not compulsory, but if you want, I'm giving examples like the service of loan. If the balance is lesser than how much you want to withdraw, for example, you want to withdraw 500, but in your account there is only 200. So suppose you want a loan. Okay, I'm just giving example. You can implement that also on your own. Other example can be if you want to maintain multiple accounts. Okay, not only a single account, multiple accounts. Then if you want, you can implement credit card and debit card system. If you want, you can implement locker room system. Okay, these are just advanced things, but for now I'm expecting that this much is compulsory. Okay, even if you don't implement other things, it is okay, but this much is compulsory. Later on, when you get time, you can convert this into your own project also. Okay, your own project means add the features which I've told you just now. So this much is compulsory. I am expecting only this much. And try to make use of all the concepts that you have learned till now. Now here there is no use of arrays, so don't use arrays till now. But what you can use, here I've written balance is equal to balance plus amount. Instead of this, you can write balance plus equal to amount. Okay. Then you can make use of functions. You can have one function for deposit, and you have to call this function within the switch case. Okay. You have another function for withdraw. Call it if the choice is withdrawal choice. If the choice is balance, then call another function to display the balance. So this is how you can make use of functions. Then another concept, if you want, you can make use of static variables. Then you have also studied about pointers. Okay, if you want, you can make use of pointers. Instead of accessing a variable directly, you can point to that variable. Okay, so whatever features you want, you can use. And within 15 days, try to complete this. And it is expected within 15 days. And after 15 days, I will also share the solution of this program. Okay, is it clear what you have to do?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
I will upload this algorithm on the sheet. You can access it from there. Now, if you have any other doubts related to this program or the sessions or recorded videos, you can ask me, and you can quickly put your attendance in the chat box.
So in 2D arrays, till now, whatever questions you have taught to us, the different
Yes.
concepts, I want to just make a PDF and also put it in that Excel sheet because
Yes, actually, I have not got time. I'll do it as soon as possible.
okay, okay. Thank you.
Yeah, yeah, welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Welcome.
One doubt was there.
Welcome. Yes, you can ask your doubt.
We have to make for this for multi users or single.
A single user, just for one person.
Okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
welcome. Any doubts?